Hello there guys, on this video I'm going to talk you through the steps of creating your very own token using the Tokens by Gen factory. Now you don't have to connect your wallet to our website to do this, you can do everything to create your token actually in BSC Scan. There is a fee, but it's done in such a way that you don't have to pay any money up front. Now the fee is inside the contract tokenomics. It's a 1% transaction fee that works in the same way that a marketing wallet might work. You can remove that fee at any time by paying 2 BNB. So if you've got no money to pay for a contract developer, but you do want a sophisticated and flexible contract, this is a great option for you. You can deploy your contract with the 1% fee, and then when your contract starts to generate a little bit of money for you, like in your marketing wallet or from your pre-sale, you can then use 2 BNB from that to remove the 1% fee in the contract itself, or you can just leave it there. It's entirely up to you. Now you can use this contract to do your own launch on PancakeSwap by adding the liquidity yourself. I'm going to do that on this video demonstration just to show you how it works. Or you can use this contract to use a launch pad such as PinkSale or DX or one of those things, or your own custom launch pad if you want to. And we've got some funky features in here that are going to make that process much easier for you. Now there is a lot of unique code in here. We've got some very sophisticated anti-bot features that you've probably not seen before. Some of them are manual, some of them are automated, but I've been testing lots of ways to protect contracts from bots, and this is by far the most effective technique I've seen so far. We've also got some very flexible options on your fees. We allow you to set your buy and your sell fees separately, and we also allow you to choose whether you want your token to be deflationary when you burn. So I'm going to be talking about all of those things as we come across them, and we're going to create and deploy our token, we're going to add liquidity, and we're going to open trade, and we're going to see it in action. So the first thing you've got to do is to make sure you're connected on your MetaMask to the wallet that you're going to be using to deploy the token. So I am connected to my developer wallet. That's going to be the owner of the contract. We've got to make sure we got some BNB in there because there's going to be a gas fee to pay. So connect to Web3. The link to this page is in the video description. As I said, we're doing everything on BSC Scan. You never need to connect your wallet to any website that you don't know or you don't trust. So we are connecting on MetaMask. Now that we've connected, you want to click on where it says create token, and we need to give our token a name. So I'm going to call mine test token. Give it a symbol. I'm going to call it TST. We're going to give it a total supply. I'm going to say 1 million, but it's entirely up to you how many tokens you have. And the number of decibels must be between 2 and 18. You can't have any less than 2. You can't have any more than 18. I'm going to go for 4. So we're going to write our the transaction. At the moment, it's going to cost $16 to deploy the token. That's the gas costs right now on BSC for this particular contract. That's quite high. Usually it's less than that. Depends on the time of day and how busy the blockchain is. So it's going to be roughly between $10 and $20. Normally it's about 11 or 12. Just depends how busy the blockchain is when you do it. Once that's done, click on where it says view your transaction. Take a little bit of time for this to actually go through. Normally we have some little circles up here that are rotating around showing you that it's going through. Just going to refresh the page. Now you can see they've appeared. Still not got through yet. So it's got to the next stage, but we're still waiting because we want to see the actual name of the token. So refresh again. And you'll see here now we've got tokens transferred. We've got from the null address, so it's minted some tokens and it's put them into your wallet. You want to click where it says the name of your token right here. So click on that, and then up here, click on where it says the contract, and you've got a contract address. That's actually the address of your token, so I hope you got a good one. So click on that, and you'll arrive at a page that looks like this one. Scroll down and click on where it says contract. Now, this page should look like this, but it might not. So you should be able to see your contract code, which is this, all pre-verified for you. You should have some functions inside here that give you information about your contract, and you also should have some functions inside here that enable you to interact with your token. If you can't see this, you might see a yellow box that says contract ABI cannot be found. Click here to verify your token. If you see that, there's nothing that you can do, and there is nothing that I can do to make that go away so that you get to this page. You've just got to wait. It's all down to the nature of the blockchain and the way that transactions are mined. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time, so just go away and come back later, refresh the page until it looks like this one. 90% of the time it will go through immediately. If it doesn't go through immediately, it should be ready in about 45 minutes. On extremely rare occasions where the blockchain is extremely busy, it has taken up to 2 days before. But as I say, there's nothing I can do that's going to speed this up. We've just got to wait. So once you do arrive at a page like this, make sure you're on the right contract page and click on Connect to Web3 with your owner wallet. And we're going to set up your contract. So if you are doing a pre-sale, like a launch pad through PinkSale or DX or something like that, you want to click on the first function and pop in the contract address that they give to you. Now, this is going to give your contract some special privileges. It's going to enable that pre-sale contract address to be able to interact with your token. It's going to remove any limits or restrictions from it so that it can do the pre-sale for you and then distribute the tokens to the people that have bought them. Now, if you're not doing that, if you're just launching the token yourself by adding some BNB into PancakeSwap, then you can skip that function. We don't need it. And we can progress with setting up your token. So next, you have the ability to set your fees when people buy, and the ability to set your fees when people sell separately. So you can charge more to people that are selling to encourage people to hold if you want to. So we're going to set up both of those. Now the marketing, this will send you BNB to your marketing wallet. It doesn't do it on every transaction. After 10 transactions, it will process these fees for you the next time somebody sells. So you'll get that in BNB sent to your wallet. I'm going to put that on 2%. The liquidity helps to increase stability of your token. I'm going to pop this on 2 as well. The burn will burn tokens, and there are a couple of different ways it does this that I'll talk about later. I'm going to pop that on 2 as well. And the tokens will send tokens rather than BNB to an external wallet for you in a similar way to the marketing wallet. But because you're getting them in tokens, obviously it's not having to sell them, so it doesn't affect the price of your token. And they can be useful for things like paying team members in tokens or adding tokens to like a staking platform or doing giveaways. So I'm going to set all of these on 2. And I'm going to write this function. Now there is a restriction in here. Your total fees for your buy or for your sell cannot be more than 15%. But you've got to bear in mind that at the moment we've got that 1% contract fee in there because we haven't paid any money to have it removed. So if I was to try and set my marketing to 15% and everything else to 0, with that 1% contract fee, that's a total of 16. So this won't work. So you can see that we have an error. So if I change that to 14, then that means plus the 1% contract fee is 15 in total. That will work, so I could do that. But I don't want 14% marketing. I'm going to put all of these on 2, so it's 8 in total, plus the 1 is 9, which is great. 9% is pretty low. And those places like Token Sniffer will give you a better score if your fees are 9% or less. So I would recommend keeping these numbers at 8, so in total you've got 9. So that's that gone through. Wallet limits. This is set as a number of tokens, not a percent. So that is not 2%, that is 2 tokens. It wouldn't actually let you do that because it's too low. There are restrictions in here. The first one, the maximum tokens for a transaction must be more than 0.1% of your supply. And the maximum tokens per wallet must be more than 0.5% of your supply. This stops you from setting the limits ridiculously low, which would essentially pause trade. So it gives you a better audit score and it helps to protect your buyers. So our total supply was 1 million. So that's the total supply, that would be 100%. If I delete 2 zeros, that would be 1%, which in our case is 10,000 tokens. Be very careful when calculating this, because I've seen loads of people making mistakes on putting in these numbers, especially if you've got like, 18 zeros for your total supply. It is difficult to count the zeros. So put in your total supply and just delete a couple off and you'll know that you're in the right place. So I want to put 2% for my maximum wallet, which would be 20,000, like so. So I'm going to write this function. You can actually set these lower than those limits I told you during something that we call the launch mode, that I'm going to talk about in much more detail in just a moment. So that's 1% on my maximum transaction, 2% on my max wallet, which I'm happy with. The next one is our bot protection, completely unique. So pay close attention, it is something that's pretty cool. I've done loads of different ways of protecting contracts from bots. This is by far the most effective one so far. Usually when you use this kind of protection, it enables you to blacklist bots, but you kind of don't need to, because bots just totally ignore you. And they ignore you because they can see that your contract has the ability to block their wallet. Now, normally, when you've got the ability to blacklist a bot, they can see that you're doing that and they sell really quickly before you blacklist them. But we actually block them completely before we blacklist them. So I'm going to explain how this works because it's pretty unique. And there are a couple of things that this affects that you need to know about because some people might be asking you questions. So first of all, we have this function that enables you to set up your bot protection. The early buy timer is a period of time in seconds, and the maximum you can put is 60 seconds. Now you need to set this to true or false. If you set it to true, then anybody that buys within those first 60 seconds will not be able to sell tokens at all during a period of time that we call the launch mode. Launch mode will last for 1 hour by default. After 1 hour, it ends, but you can click on a button that ends it early. So just to reiterate this, because it is something totally new, for the first 60 seconds, if a person buys your token, we tag their wallet to say that this person is an early buyer. They bought those tokens within the first 60 seconds. I mean, you can have this on 5 seconds if you want to. It's entirely up to you. 60 is the maximum. Once a wallet has been tagged as an early buyer, it cannot sell, if this is set to true, which you really will need it set to true, until launch mode ends. Launch mode ends automatically within an hour, but you can end it early. Also, whilst launch mode is still active, we have the ability to pop in a wallet address and set it to true in this function, and that will blacklist that wallet. So the way this works is you launch your token, you open trade, anyone that buys within the first 60 seconds, they are blocked from selling, which gives you a full hour for you to have a look at that transaction. And if you look at it and you say that wallet used a bot, I did say that no one can buy my token using a bot. So you pop the wallet address in here, you set it to true and you write the function, and that wallet is now blacklisted, which means even though it bought some of your tokens, it can't move them anywhere, it can't sell them, and it can't do anything with them apart from it can send them to you. So if the person says, yeah, I used the bot, I am sorry, I'd like to interact with your token though, can I send these tokens back to you? Then they could do that. So they could send the tokens to you, but they can't do anything else with them. Now, when launch mode ends, you will no longer have the ability to blacklist people, but you can remove blacklist status from wallets that you might have accidentally blacklisted. It does happen. So if you blacklist somebody by mistake, you can set this to false, always lowercase on this true or false, and that would remove that blacklist status for that wallet. So just one more time, just to make sure this is completely clear. When you open trade, your token is in launch mode, which will last for 1 hour by default, but you can end it early. If you choose to protect your token from bots, on this function, you can put in a number of seconds. The maximum is 60 and set this to true. Once you've done that, that means that anyone buying tokens within that many seconds from when you open trade, they're going to be tagged as an early buyer and they cannot sell tokens during launch mode. This gives you time to have a look at their wallet, and if they used a bot, you can then use the blacklist function to blacklist them. There we go. That is the bot protection. I've not seen a bot even touch a contract that I've used this kind of bot protection on. So you probably won't need to blacklist anyone. They can see the code and they just don't even go there because they know that if you blacklist them, there's nothing they can do about it. So we're going to write this function to have this protection in, and then when we go through deploying the contract, adding liquidity, and opening trade, I'm going to switch to another wallet, and I'm going to try and buy and sell tokens really quickly so you can see the way that it would block somebody. So I'm going to confirm this. So before we open trade, which would be the next step after we've added liquidity, I'm going to go through the other couple of little functions in here because we need to move quite quickly so you can see this in action. So it's just this one really. The deactivate launch mode, you can click on the button and it ends the launch mode early rather than waiting an hour. So we're not doing a pre-sale. So you're going to be adding your liquidity yourself on PancakeSwap. If you were doing a pre-sale, then at this stage, the pre-sale would continue. Once it's ended, the pre-sale would be finalized and the company that's running the pre-sale would add the liquidity for you and the people could claim their tokens. And then once that's all done, it's all finalized and ready, you would then click on the button and open trade. And at that point, people can start buying and selling. However, because we're launching this token ourselves on PancakeSwap, we now need to head over to PancakeSwap and add our liquidity. So we're going to grab our token address, go to pancakeswap.finance, go where it says trade, hover over there and just go on liquidity and click on add liquidity. No, that's not what we wanted. Add liquidity. And then in here, click on where it says cake and paste in your token and say import. And you understand, sometimes it doesn't find your token straight away. If that happens, you just got to come back later. Same situation with your contract being verified. So import the token. And you need BNB as one of them and your token as the other when you add your initial liquidity. You can later add liquidity with another token like BUSD or something if you want to, but your initial liquidity must be with BNB. Now, you also must add a minimum of 1 BNB with your initial liquidity. If you do any less than that, you're going to run into problems. It's probably going to break your contract. You might not get a trade button on PooCoin and your contract will flag as a honeypot. Absolute minimum of 1 BNB, a lot more if you can afford it. Now, I'm not going to do that because if I had 1 BNB, I haven't got much left in this wallet and I need the gas to be able to show you all the different functionality. So because this is actually what we're doing here isn't a live token, it's just demonstration. So I'm going to have 0.1 BNB, but this is going to cause issues. And I'm going to put in all of my tokens. So I'm going to enable this. Now there's a new feature on MetaMask here that asks you the number of tokens that you want to spend. Never used to do that, it used to automatically do the maximum. Now we do want the maximum. So just click on where it says max and say next and then say approve. And then next up, we'll click on the supply button when it appears. And PooCoin will create our liquidity pool and they will mint a token called Cake LP that represents our liquidity. And that's the token that we would need to go and lock in a liquidity token locker like on DX or on Pink Sale. And that protects our investors so that we can't remove our liquidity. So we click on supply, create pair and supply, and you'll see here that it will, and we'll confirm, you'll see that it actually creates the Cake LP token that we add to our wallet. And then we close this and we've now got a liquidity pool. So there is liquidity, but people can't buy or sell because trade is still not open. Now I'm going to get, excuse me, I'm going to get the contract address again. I'm going to pop it into PooCoin like that. So this is our token on PooCoin. We've got a little bit of liquidity in there. We don't have a trade button, but there's actually 3 reasons we don't have a trade button at the moment. The first one is trade is not open. The second one is that we've put in our bot protection. So anyone who buys within the first 60 seconds won't be able to sell. And PooCoin will be trying to buy and sell tokens. And if they buy them and then they cannot sell them, they will deactivate the trade button. So that's going to be deactivated until that 60 seconds expires or we turn off that launch mode. So we're not going to get a trade button on PooCoin while we're using the bot protection. But there's also one other reason that we don't have a trade button, and that is because we only added a tiny amount of liquidity. So we've got 0.1 BNB in our total liquidity, and PooCoin are going to try and buy and sell 0.01 BNB, which would be 10% of our supply. And we have transaction limits and wallet limits that don't allow people to buy and sell 10% of our supply. So we wouldn't get the trade button. Now, it's because of that reason that I'm now going to change my maximum wallet limit. I'm going to change this from what it was to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to the maximum supply. And the only reason I'm doing it, obviously you wouldn't do this. The only reason I'm doing it in this case is because otherwise we definitely won't get our trade button on PooCoin with such a tiny amount of liquidity. So we still won't have our trade button now, but we've eliminated one of the reasons that it's not there. So we've added liquidity, we've set up our bot protection, we are now ready to open trade. We've set up our transaction and wallet limits, we've set up our buy and sell fees and all of that stuff. Let's say if we've done our pre-sale, it's all finished, it's finalized, we're ready to open trade. So this next bit we want to do quite quickly. So I'm going to open trade, I need to be in the owner wallet to do that. Then I'm going to switch to another wallet that doesn't have any special privileges. I'm going to buy tokens within the first 60 seconds, which will cause that wallet to get tagged as an early buyer. And then I'll show you that I cannot sell tokens with that wallet during the launch mode, which enables the owner of the token to have a look at the transaction and decide if they want to blacklist the wallet or not. So you're going to get to see how that works. So we will... I'm going to set this up ready first of all. So we want to go to the swap and we want to go on here and put in, we need our token address. So we've got that ready. So we've got our BNB and our token so that we can buy some tokens when we come back over here in a moment. We've got to do it within the first minute though, so that we can see that bot protection in action. So we're in the owner wallet at the moment and we're going to open trade on this button here, number 6. We'll confirm. Now I'm going to very quickly switch over to a different wallet, which doesn't have any special privileges, and I'm going to buy some tokens. And confirm. I'm going to close this. So now I've bought tokens within that first 60 seconds. My wallet will get tagged as an early buyer. So if I grab my wallet address and I go over to the actual contract read page, I'll scroll on down, you'll see where it says is early buyer. If I paste it in, it's set to true. Now that's because I bought tokens really early. So what the owner can now do is have a look at the transaction for this wallet and decide whether or not we think it was somebody buying fairly or whether it was someone that was using a bot. If it was someone that was using a bot, then they can go along to the, let's close some of these up. They can go along to the blacklist bots, pop the wallet address into here, set it to true to blacklist that wallet. Now, if I was using a bot, normally when you get blacklisted, you can see that transaction going through and you can sell dead quickly. But in this case, I can't sell at all. So this is going to blacklist that wallet without it ever being able to sell. Now, I'm not going to do this function. I'm not going to put that through, but I just want to show you that if I was to try and sell my tokens, so I need to enable them first of all. And I'm going to set this to max as well. I think this is going to confuse a lot of people. It's just a new feature on MetaMask. So I'm going to improve, what you're doing here basically is giving permission to PancakeSwap to be able to sell your tokens for you. So normally that is all of the tokens, but you just sell the amount that you want to. So once it's given it permission, I'm going to try and swap and you'll see that it won't go through. We're going to get an error. There we go. So it's saying transferred from failed. Now the reason it failed is because I'm an early buyer. We are still in launch mode, so I cannot sell these tokens. So if the owner There are two ways that the owner can release my wallet. So I need to switch over to the owner wallet. So if we go to the read contract page, all the way down here, we have wallet settings, and number 24, wallet settings, remove early tag buyer. So if they put my wallet address in here and write this function, that's going to remove that tag from my wallet. So I'm no longer an early buyer and I can just buy and sell as normal. Now, obviously, you don't want to have to do that if you're the owner to every person. But if someone comes up to you and says, hey, I've bought tokens I can't sell, and gives you their wallet address and you check it and they bought genuinely, you could release just their wallet if you wanted to. So it gives you a lot of flexibility. But we don't want to do that. But instead, what we will do is we'll actually end the launch mode earlier. So let's pretend that this token's launched. A lot of people have bought the token. Some people were bots, some people were genuine. You had a look at the early transactions, you saw the ones that were bots, and you blacklisted those wallets in here by putting the wallet address and setting to true. Now you're happy that all of the other buyers are genuine, so you're ready to deactivate launch mode. When you deactivate launch mode, those genuine early buyers that you didn't blacklist will now be able to sell, and you're not going to be able to blacklist anybody else. You can remove blacklist, but you can't add it. So that's where we are now. So we'll deactivate launch mode to do that. First of all, we'll have a quick look at our token over here on PancakeSwap. So you'll see that we've got my buy in there, and we've got someone bought the token, but they bought the token after a minute after launch. So normally when you're launching this token, you've got your Telegram group and everyone's active, you get loads of people who are going to buy in the first minute. So if a bot bought, it's only going to get an advantage if it buys in the first couple of seconds. If you've launching a token and no one's buying it at all, obviously the very first person that buys is the person that gets the cheapest tokens. So we've got our trade button has now become active. We can now trade, and that's because that 60 seconds has gone. For the first 60 seconds, we didn't have that trade button because Pucon were trying to buy and sell. And because they were buying within 60 seconds, they can't sell, which is why they were flagging it as a honeypot. But now they're no longer doing that. So now trade is active on Pucoin as well as PancakeSwap. But we do need to activate our launch mode. So if I do this, deactivate my launch mode, you will now see that when I switch back to the wallet that bought those tokens during the early buy, it will be able to sell. So now, when I try and sell all my tokens, rather than getting that error, I can now sell all my tokens. So there we go. The token is now live. The restrictions have been removed for the early buyers and the blacklisting option has been removed. But before we close down this video, I'm going to run through some of the other functionality within the actual contract itself and tell you some of the things that this contract can do. But there is also a PDF guide that's going to accompany this token. There'll be a link to that in the video description as well that's going to go into all of the functions in detail, and it will be easy for you to find what you need in that rather than trying to find each function within this video. So we've already covered every function up to this one, number 8. The next one is the wallets. So by default, when you create your token, the wallet that you use to create the token, that is your owner wallet. And we also use that wallet for the token fee wallet, the liquidity collection, and the marketing wallet. But you can update them in here. So if you don't want to use the same wallet for everything, which would be wise, then you can change this. We've explained what the tokens are from the token fee. It sends you tokens a little bit like a marketing wallet, but tokens rather than BNB. The wallet you put in here is where they'll be sent to. The liquidity is the Cake LP tokens that PancakeSwap will mint every time liquidity is added that represents your liquidity and you need to lock them. There are some liquidity lockers that you could put into here that it'd send it straight into the locker. I've created one of those. I'm not sure if any of the lockers on DX or Pink allow that. I don't think they do. So it'd go to a normal wallet that you control, then you'd have to go and lock them. And then of course we've got your marketing wallet. Now on all of these functions, you need to fill in all of the boxes. So it's asking for 3 different three different wallet addresses here. So if you wanted to change the marketing wallet but not these two, you would need to put the owner wallet into these two to be able to change that one. So you need to enter a value into all of them each time you change any of them. Number 10. This is where you can put some information about your project so people can find it more easily. I'll show you where this appears in a moment. So you can put your website address, your Telegram, and the lock of your liquidity locker once you've got it. Again, you've got to fill in all the boxes. So if you were to put your website address in, so I put www.tokensbygen.com. Let's say my Telegram, I don't know Telegram links, so I'm just going tg.com. My token. I have no idea what it's supposed to be, but we haven't got our liquidity locker yet. You've got to put something in there, so I'm going to put my website address in there again, and then later, once I've got my liquidity locker, I can update this. But I'm just going to write that in so I can show you where it appears. Now, the reason it didn't work is because I'm not in the owner wallet. Always got to be in the owner wallet to use these things. The next one. This is something quite unique to my contracts. It gives you the ability to have a deflationary burn or a standard one. Now, a standard burn is this set to false, which is the default, and that is when tokens are burned, they are sent to the burn address, so the one with all the zeros and dead at the end, and that will become a holder of your token. Now, that wallet, excuse me, that wallet can never sell tokens, so it's like a holder forever. So it's like helping to hold the price of your token. So it does a lot of benefit to your token. If you set this to true, like so, rather than it sending tokens to that wallet address, it actually removes them from the total supply. So the total supply goes down by the number of tokens that are being burned. Now, that actually has the same effect as putting them into the burn wallet from a financial point of view. It doesn't change the value of any tokens that people are holding because the value is only changed when you change the ratio of BNB to token inside your liquidity pool. That's kind of what rebase tokens do. Now, we're not doing that. The only way that we change that ratio is when people buy or sell, which is why your token price and value goes up when people buy or sell, which is why tokens you hold are worth more money when other people buy. But when we reduce the total supply, those tokens aren't in liquidity, so that doesn't affect anyone's wallet at all. But a lot of people really like it. It creates an idea of scarcity. It's a very psychological thing. So if you want that, if you want the tokens to be removed from your total supply rather than being added to the burn wallet, you can set this to true. But I will caution you that it can cause you some problems getting your token listed in places. A lot of places like CMC and CG, those kind of places, will think your token is a rebase token because the total supply is changing. But it isn't rebase because we're not altering the ratio of BNB and token actually within liquidity. But do make sure you fully understand this and the implications of it before you decide to do it. The default is false, which just means tokens go to the burn wallet, which is what happens on pretty much every other contract. But you have got the option there if you want to remove them from total supply instead. And it's a really, really easy thing to market from a psychological point of view. The next thing we've got, this is set to true by default, but you can set it to false if you want to. This means that when you send tokens from one wallet to another, there will not be a fee. Now that sounds like it would be standard, but it isn't. For many years, all tokens had a standard fee that applied to every transaction, whether it was a buy, a sell, or just moving tokens around. A lot of people didn't realize this, and they shuffled tokens around wallets and kind of lost 12% of them every time they did it. But that was the way that tokens worked. We then developed tokens that enabled you to move them between wallets without incurring a fee. But this is not compatible with renouncing your token. So if you renounce your token, you want to set this to false first of all. Now, when this is set to false, if somebody moves the tokens from one wallet to another, it will charge whatever your fees are on a buy. Now, the reason these things are not compatible is because anybody can create a new liquidity pair on any token. We can't restrict that, and we need to tell the token what the liquidity pair address is in order to charge a fee, so that it's possible to not charge a fee when tokens are just moving between wallets. So it's kind of like, just unfortunately, due to the way tokens work, that if you was to renounce your contract, other people could add new liquidity pairs and we wouldn't be able to tell the contract, so we'd have to set this to false. If you want more information on that and how it works, then please do chat to me over on Telegram and I can explain it for you in more detail. If you or anybody else adds a new liquidity pair, then you want to pop the address of the liquidity pair in here and set it to true. Now I'll tell you where you can see them. Even if you didn't do them yourself, go on over to your token on KuCoin. Over here, this is your liquidity pair. So this is our pairing with our token and BNB. If you click on the holders thing, then up here, scroll to the top, you've got the address. So that's the address right there, OX8EE26. That address represents this token and BNB, the liquidity pair. So if someone made a new one with a token and BUSD, grab the address from there, pop back over to your token, pop it into the box and set it to true. That tells the contract that if tokens are moving to or from that address, it's someone buying or selling, and we have to charge a fee. So that's kind of how it works. It means you can add as many liquidity pairs as you like. Next up, we've got renouncing your ownership of your contract. When you renounce the ownership of your contract, it locks you out of these functions. So you can't change anything. You can't change the fees or anything like that again. You also lose the ability to pay that 2BNB and remove the 1% fee that's inside the contract. So if you're going to renounce, make sure you do that first. We do have a little step in here that prevents you from accidentally renouncing. You just have to put in a code. The code is 1234, and then you click on the button and it will renounce. I only put that in there because I had just the button and it flagged up in an audit saying people could accidentally press the button and renounce the contract. I don't think anybody would, really. I mean, even if you did put the code in and you press the button by mistake, you've still got to come up here and confirm the transaction. I think it would be very irresponsible of a developer or the owner of a token to accidentally renounce it. But we do things to get good scores on audits, which is the only reason that that's there. Exactly the same thing on transferring ownership. Put in the new owner address into this box and pop in that code 1234 into the other box, and it will transfer the ownership of the token to somebody else, and they will be able to interact with these functions, but you won't. Right, the next one is removing the contract fee. So as I said, there's nothing to pay up front to make your token, but there is a 1% fee inside the contract tokenomics. If you want to remove it at any time, you can pay 2BNB. So you could get that 2BNB from the money you make on your pre-sale, or you could get it from your marketing wallet once your token is live. So it enables you to have a very flexible, well-coded token on the latest version of Solidity without having to pay a decent, trustworthy developer $5,000, which is what you would have to do to get a token with the kind of code in it that we've got in here, as opposed to going over to Fiverr, paying hardly anything and getting a copy-paste contract that's very basic. So to remove the fee, you have to put in a number 2, and then you click on the button and it will charge you 2BNB. Now, I obviously can't do that because I don't have 2BNB in this wallet, so it comes up with this error. Now, if you have got 2BNB in your wallet, but you don't put a number 2 in here, you put something else, you're going to get the same error because it has to be 2BNB. Next up, these functions are to do with processing the fees. It does happen automatically, but you can turn this on or off. It's set to true by default. You're never going to need to set it to false, but if, for instance, loads of people were selling your token, your price was crashing, you didn't want to process your fees on your contract to add insult to injury, because that sells tokens as well, you could set it to false. But I'm saying you'd never really need to do this. When this is set to true, how the contract works, and it's different to other contracts, this is unique to the way I code. It means that this process is fully automated and you don't have to think about it. Once we've had 10 transactions that have taken a fee, The next time there is a sell on your token, the contract will then process those fees. So when it processes the fees, it has to sell some tokens to BNB to get your marketing money. So that's going to show up on your chart. It's going to be in the same transaction as the person that was selling tokens. So you'll see two sells in the same second in the same transaction. If you look at them, you'll see that there's a lot of stuff going on. It's sending you the marketing BNB. It's creating liquidity, and you'll see those KKLP tokens will be sent to your liquidity collection wallet and all of that kind of stuff. So a lot of things will be going on, but you will see it as two transactions on your chart. It's not a bot. It is your contract doing what it's meant to do. Now, there is a token out there at the moment where the owner of the token thinks that's a bot, and he keeps blacklisting people. And he's blacklisted loads of genuine people. Someone's selling tokens. It's then triggering the contract to process the fees. It's completely normal. All tokens do it. It's not one of mine. It's not my code. It's just a contract that's doing what it should do, but the owner doesn't understand it, and he's blacklisting wallets when he shouldn't be. And he's going to get himself into a lot of trouble, and we're trying to get in touch with him, but he's ignoring us. But yeah, you will see that on your contract roughly every 10 transactions. Now, if you have 10 transactions with a fee, and then loads of people buy but nobody sells, it won't process the fees until someone sells. Now, this really works in your favor, because when it processes the fees, it's going to sell tokens for marketing money. So it's going to get BNB. So if people are buying, those tokens are now worth more marketing money. So you're selling the same amount of tokens, but you're getting more BNB in your marketing wallet. So you might be thinking, hey, it's not processing the fees, and you might be panicking about it because you're getting loads of people buying and no one's selling. Don't worry about it, just wait. Now, you can do it yourself by selling tokens yourself, or there is actually a function, it's this one right here. You can use this function to actually trigger it to happen. But I would say just wait, because the tokens are going up in value and you're going to get more marketing money. Now, when it does process those fees, it is limited. It will never sell more tokens to process the fees than your maximum transaction. So it's never going to dump your chart or anything like that. And that's one of the reasons I do it this way. The way most developers do it means that it's either going to be processing all the time and it's putting loads of red all over your chart and it looks awful, or it doesn't do it for ages, then all of a sudden it dumps the hell out of your chart with one massive sell. And you have to keep an eye on it, and you have to go and update this number all the time. It's a little bit of a pain in the ass. So I've done this method using this counter, which is fully automated, and it's always in keeping with the price of your token. And it's never going to sell more tokens than a max transaction. So it's just one of those things that as an owner of the token, you don't have to worry about it. It's automated for you. So next up, we've got the ability to remove random tokens from the contract. Sometimes people send tokens to your contract by mistake. Like they might send some BUSD to your contract to try and buy your token. If they do, it gets trapped. It's trapped forever. They've lost their money. But we've got this function that enables you to remove it. So you can pop in here the address of the token, the number of tokens you want to remove, but remember to put all the zeros in for the decimals, depending on what token it is. It'll have a different number of decimals, which is the reason we don't do it for you. Click on the button and it will remove those to your wallet, and you can send them back where they came from. Now, you can't remove your token from the token because that prevents an exploit where you could actually just kind of steal the tokens from the contract rather than it processing them into fees. So the next one, this is the number of transactions that need to happen before the contract is triggered to process the fees. It's 10 by default. I wouldn't change it. 10 works really nicely. If you put a lower number, obviously it's going to process the fees more often, which puts more red on the chart. If you put a high number, it will process the fees less often, which means that when it does it, it will be a bigger sell. 10 works really well. I've tested lots of different things and it does work well. The next one is your wallet settings. If you pop a wallet address in here and set it to true, that wallet will be excluded from paying fees. Your wallet, the owner wallet, is set to true by default. All the others are set to false. When you set up the pre-sale contract that you did in function number 1, it actually puts the pre-sale contract into here and sets it to true. Exclude from limits. So if you pop a wallet address in here and set it to true, it means it will not be restricted by the transaction limits or the wallet holding limits. Pre-launch access, if you set a wallet in here and put it on true, that means before trade is open, that wallet will be able to add the initial liquidity, which is what you do, and it will be able to buy tokens. However, you cannot sell tokens before trade is opened. And also, once you've added the initial liquidity, you can't add any more liquidity before trade is opened. Now that's kind of necessary for the way contracts works, which prevents the owner from potentially doing a pre-sale, not opening trade and selling their tokens, which is something that I don't think anyone would do, but it does flag up as quite a serious issue in audits. And that's the reason that's in there. So I've done tokens before where I've sent them for an audit and it said medium level risk, the owner could sell tokens before trade is open. So now I've removed that ability and it gets you a better audit score. And this one we've covered already. The next few functions are things that are required by ERC20 and BEP20 token standards, so they just need to be there. And they're used by things like PancakeSwap to be able to interact with your token. The other thing that I want to show you is on the read contract page. Inside the project information, if you click on the button, you'll see that this is where it shows you the website address that we popped in. So we've got the website address here, we've got the Telegram link, and once you get the liquidity lock address, you can pop it in there as well. Now, the reason I've done that is because it keeps everything in one place and it's right at the top of the page. And it's very easy for people to click on this and find information about your token and be able to find you in your project, because they might have bought your token by seeing it on BSC scan but not have a clue who you are. It also tells them the maximum transaction limit, maximum wallet holding limit, the fees when buying and selling. And as you can see here, it now says blacklist possible has gone to false because it's no longer possible for you to be able to blacklist people because our launch mode has ended. So there we go, that is your token. As I said before, there will be a step-by-step PDF guide as well that goes into all these functions so that you can just jump to the one that you need. If you have any questions, they're either going to be answered on this video, so if you need to watch it through again, or they're going to be answered in the PDF guide. Now, if they're not answered in either of those places, you can get in touch with me directly on Telegram, or you can join my community group on Telegram. The links to both of these are in the description. Now, I will say, if you do have questions, if they're already answered in the PDF guide or in this video, then by asking those questions again, you're essentially wasting people's time. We put a bit of time and effort into putting all the answers out there and provide them for you. So a lot of people use these factories. We don't want people coming and asking us the questions that we've already answered for you over and over again. We are very busy people, so we don't want to be answering questions that are already in the guide there for you. That's the reason that we've created the guide. That said, we are very approachable. We're happy to talk about anything else and clarify things, so you can ask stuff if you want to. But I will say go into the community group and ask your questions in there. Usually you'll get an answer much quicker. Your answer benefits other people that might have the same question because they get to see it. And also there are other people that can give you better answers to your questions than I can directly. So rather than messaging me directly, actually asking the community. Normally it's me that's going to answer your question in there, but there's a lot of brilliant admins in there. There's a lot of people with very different skills, a lot of people that can help you in things that I wouldn't be able to help you with. And of course, when your question is public, it helps other people as well. So other people might have the same question, it helps them. So if you've got any questions, first of all, check the PDF guide. If it's not answered in there, get yourself into the GenTokens community group on Telegram, ask a question in there, and there'll be someone in there that is going to be able to help you. If you get anyone DMing you, bear in mind that anyone can join that group, so scammers can join it as well. If it's not an admin, then don't just trust what they're telling you. If it's an admin, then all of those people are people that you can completely trust. They're very knowledgeable on this stuff, so they're going to be able to help you. Or if it's me, I'm tagged in there as the owner. Of course, I'll be able to help you as well. So that is your token. This is a standard token. Although it's got a huge amount of flexibility, It doesn't do like reflections or rewards or anything like that. If you want a token that rewards your holders with more of your token or rewards them with another token like BUSD, we also have those options available on the Token Factory. I'll link to videos for those tokens in the description of this one. Or if you want a custom token that is completely unique, then you can contact me and I can make a token very specific to your project. That's all from me, guys. I wish you the very best of luck with your token. If you've added 100% of your tokens to your initial liquidity, either on your pre-sale or on your stealth launch, and if your liquidity is locked for a considerable amount of time, at least 6 months or more, and this is important, you have a valuable utility that actually adds value to the world. If you can tick all of those boxes and you want to come and talk to me about your token, I know the code is safe. If you want a KYC, I will then mention your token to other people and put it in my group. Do not promote your token inside our community group. We don't allow that. We are aware that people who are scammers can make tokens using our tools, so we don't promote tokens that have used our tools unless you can tick all of those boxes and you've genuinely got a great utility. That's all from me. I wish you all of the best. Take care and have a good day. Bye-bye.